Thank you very much. Your Excellency, with your permission, permit me now to invite His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, to deliver his statement in this capacity as outgoing chair of the Regional Oversight Mechanism of Peace, Security, Cooperation Frameworks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellency, Mr.
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the new chair of Rome and of the Framework Agreement. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the high representatives of the heads of state and heads of delegations, Excellencies, representative of the Secretary General of the UN, Excellency, Executive Secretary of ICGLR, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I wish to start by thanking the Almighty God who enabled us to meet here in this very good, very nice city, beautiful city of Entebbe. We should continue to guide us during the deliberations of this 12th summit of the regional mechanism and the framework agreement of Addis Ababa for peace, security and cooperation for the DRC and the region. I would wish to thank particularly our Museveni, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for the warm welcome as well as the hospitality, legendary hospitality that he accorded to us since our arrival in this nice, beautiful city of Entebbe, in the Republic of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. I wish to take this opportunity to transmit through your excellency the sincere and friendly greetings from the people of Burundi to the people of Uganda, as well as to the respective peoples of the signatory countries of the Framework Agreement. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, 12 years have passed after the signature of the Framework Agreement undertaken on 24th of February 2013 in Addis Ababa. This agreement has the main objective of putting an end to armed conflict in the east of the DRC and resolve the causes of violence and war, repetitive wars in the region. It also intended to establish sustainable peace, to strengthen security and to promote regional cooperation for peace and sustainable development. Since the signature, its signature in 2013, and particularly since the last summit of the mechanism of its implementation held in Bujumbura in 2023, we have gone through a lot of problems. In fact, war became more devastating than before. The beginning of this year, 2025, was marked by a situation with the resurgency of war started by M23, supported by Rwanda, the conquering and occupation of Congolese territories in the east, and the occupation of the airport of Goma Bukavu, as well as blockade and destruction of infrastructure caused disastrous consequences. Massacres, mass violations of human rights, refugees, displaced people, impoverishment of populations, and jeopardizing economic activities. Looking specifically, situation which is changing from bad to worse as long as the war continues. Regional and international efforts in support to the Congolese government for the establishment of peace have not given any satisfactory results. Have not given satisfactory results. The East African community, which had marked some steps in looking for a Pacific solution, found problems with the lack of will of M23 and it was unable to finish its work. I myself was as president of the summit of the chief of the head of state for the Committee of East Africa. I found I mean so many times people responsible for M23 in Bujumbura to look together for a solution to the conflict. But when we are going to starting on a peace process, the war continued all the time, and the regional force was obliged to leave the place, Uganda and Burundi, which are acting side by side with the government of the DRC, following the bilateral agreements and common defense. Apart from that, I took the initiative to listen to Congolese communities by meeting their custom heads. Among many others, I also had discussions with the Nyamulenge community, and our exchanges were fruitful, because even if there are sometimes some hesitance due to external influences, a significant part of that community recognizes itself as Congolese. I wish here to commend our brother, President Antoine Felix Tshisekedi, who concretized his understanding by integrating them in state institutions as police. After the departure of the regional force, forces of the SADC came to support the army of the DRC to establish peace in that region. But after the intervention of Rwandan army forces, side by side with M3 forces, the efforts failed. Today, North Kivu and a part of South Kivu are not in control of the Congolese government, with all the consequences which come with that as regards the service delivery, the state of Congo. The population in this part of the territory are just moving all over the place without any services. The effects of the mediation efforts in the process of Nairobi and Rwanda seem not to have brought about any fruits, despite the efforts made by the President of Angola, His Excellency João Manuel Lourenço, and the former President of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. I wish to commend all the good initiatives undertaken and the different processes in Africa or outside the African continent which contribute up to now in the search for solutions. I commend the efforts made at regional level, particularly by the African Union, the East African Community, the ECAS, the CIRGL, and the SADC, as well as efforts made by the Secretary General of the Organization of the Nations in order to re-establish peace and security in the eastern part of the DRC. I commend also the appointment of a group of eminent facilitators for the process of the East African Community, SADC, of whom we have two women who support the mediator appointed by the African Union, His Excellency Yasimbe, President of the Republic of Togo, having succeeded to His Excellency João Manuel Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola, whom address our gratitude for his remarkable work accomplished in the framework of the Luanda process. Excellencies, at this very moment, as I talk to you, the war taking place now in the east of the DRC has reached its paroxysm, and if nothing is done, it will not only extend to other provinces of the DRC, but can also affect other countries of the sub-region. The foreign armed groups which are in these parts of the DRC take advantage of the support of some countries like Uganda, are watching to take advantage of this situation. I had the chance to alert the international community and the community of the danger presented by the extension of this war in the region. Not only this can bring about a big number of uncontrollable refugees, but it presents a chance for the criminals to facilitate arms proliferation in the sub-region, which may create tensions between certain countries. Today, I wish to commend the quick reaction of the different international forums, notably the Resolution 2773 of the Security Council of the United Nations, condemning firmly the attacks executed by M23 in North Kivu and South Kivu with the support of Rwandan army forces, as well as taking control of the city of Goma. I also commend the session of the Council of Human Rights, the summit of the ECAS and the African Union Summit, which was held in October 2025, which all condemned the atrocities committed and which took the decisions and formulated recommendations which made a significant contribution in favor of peace in the region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the obstacles found could in no way stop us from commending the registration of in the 2 years gone, what we have so far achieved in this framework. High-level consultation, which I also participated in. First of all, in my capacity as chair of the Eastern Committee, and also as the chair of diplomatic consultations between different countries. Peaceful organization of elections at the DRC should be commended. The special envoy of the Secretary of Nations to the region, the Western region, the consultation of the orientations and governments we have in place brought about initiatives of contact in the USA, Togo, Qatar, with the objective of contributing to peace in the region. I wish to thank the guarantee institutions of the agreement, the UN, the African Union, the SADC, and thank Yabereye for their contribution intended to implement the agreement. Excellent. During the 11th summit of Rome, many recommendations and encouragements were made. In fact, the heads of state and of government reaffirmed the relevance of the agreement as a means of promoting peace and sustainable stability in the region, and requested the Technical Support Committee to start on independent assessment and evaluation as regards the implementation of this agreement by underlining its strong points and weaknesses, and look at how the signatory countries adhere to the principles and its commitments. In fact, it's with satisfaction that I commend the work accomplished as regards the revitalization of the framework agreement, whose document will be presented to you. This work has been a result of several steps and phases. Guarantee sessions and our partners organized in Japan and in Africa, South Africa in October, November 2023, followed by a number of meetings of the Technical Support Committee and of the Interior Session, which took place yesterday here in Uganda, in Kampala. The same way, the communique of the 11th summit of the Rome emphasized the support to full participation of women and the youth in the prevention of conflict, consolidation of peace, and political dialogue in the region, including the process of Nairobi and Rwanda. Encouragements were addressed to the Republic of Burundi as well as new chair of the mechanism to organize a dialogue platform with women and the youth in the region in order to enable them to contribute to regional efforts intended to bring about peace. I am happy to announce to you that connect dialogue and intergenerational on the youth, peace and security was talked about in the forum of the youth from signatory countries of the agreement. It was held in Bujumbura, Burundi, on the 14th of December 2023. I myself, as chair of the mechanism and champion of the African Union for the youth agenda on peace and security, opened the deliberations in conformity with the agenda of 2063 of the African Union and the resolution 2250 of the Security Council of the United Nations with testimony regarding actions in favor and by the youth. The same activities of the regional forum of women of the member countries of the Rome and countries signatory to the agreement for peace, security and cooperation took place on the 22nd and 23rd August 24, whose theme was promote peace and regional peace program, security and cooperation. I myself also officiated the opening of this deliberation and underscoring the role of women in the prevention and resolution of conflicts. I encourage the heads of state and the government signatory to this agreement to concentrate on the efforts intended to take in account women's voice and showing the importance of the impact of women and their role in resolving conflicts, encouraging women therefore to develop efficient strategies to build sustainable peace. In the framework of implementing the decisions of the Commission of the 11th Summit, the operational department of the group of contact and coordination of non-military measures was encouraged to follow up its commitment as regards the foreign army groups in the DRC in all transparency with the Congolese government. The results of the mission effected in the DRC in 2025 by the operational group of contact and coordination, the mechanism of the agreement, and the non-military measures in the east of the DRC focused on the disarmament in order to repatriate the former warriors. And this was determined until the mission of our technical workshop to enable putting in place a legal framework. That workshop was organized in December 2024 in Uganda. The process put in place a legal framework is in place, underway. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stop this speech without talking about the role played by the different organs and different individuals in so far success of the mission that was assigned. So I would like to note that the results were made possible thanks to the collaboration between the intelligence systems of Burundi and Congo with support of the Office of the Special Envoy of the United Nations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stop my speech on this report without talking about the contribution of Burundi as a signatory country in the implementation of the principles provided for in the agreement. First of all, I would like to remind you about the principles to which the countries committed themselves. That is one, not to interfere in internal affairs of other states, not to terrorize or give assistance to armed groups. Respect sovereignty and integrity of neighboring states. Strengthen regional cooperation, including through deepening economic integration with attention focused on the issue of natural resource exploitation. Respect the concerns and legitimate interests of neighboring states, in particular as regards the question of security. Not host and offer any protection of whatever nature to the people accused of war crimes, crime against humanity, acts of genocide and aggression to people under the regime or sanctions of the nation. And finally, G, that's the administration of justice, thanks to legal justice in this. These commitments call upon us today, and Burundi took them very, very seriously. As regards Burundi, it has already taken a firm position and position of never to be part of conflict, but rather to be part of the solution. Burundi is coming to play a key role in the creation of a favorable environment to offer space of peace, enabling the region to flourish in tranquility. Yet in the past, Burundi was a problem. Burundi was a burden. Today it has become stable and reconciled. Peace and security are today available in Burundi, especially in the national territory of Burundi, and is separated for government. At national level, significant activities in favor of peace and development have already been undertaken, especially by orienting the youth and strengthening family leadership. The Burundian population is ready to participate in peaceful, legislative and communal elections to be held on the 5th of June 2025. This effect, the international community and national committee was led to look at this on 9th of May 2025 on the launching of the electoral campaigns in Burundi, which I launched myself. And during that ceremony, many candidates from different political parties were there together, hand in hand, giving this process its due position, financed by Burundi itself. This sign translates the sufficiency of maturity in our country. That is all to say that Burundi has put in place favorable conditions for stability in the region. As regards solidarity and humanitarian actions, allow me to underscore that after the war in the east of the DRC, especially at the beginning of this war 2025, Burundi received more than 120,000 refugees from Congo. On this subject, Burundi might form support from its partners to be able to accomplish better these humanitarian actions. I would wish to thank the Congolese government through the First Lady's office, which joined the office of the First Lady of Burundi to assist that refugee population. I thank also local associations and religious organizations in Burundi for their compassion, which is manifested by through my firm support to the needs of refugees from Congo. And in this logic of supporting the DRC during this difficult time, not only Burundi receives children from Congo, but Burundi also helps the Congolese government in helping that population in distress within the country. As I just said, Burundi offers space of peace to the neighbors in the region. We commend the peaceful cohabitation with neighboring countries, though we cannot be hypocrite that today there is some problem between Burundi and Rwanda, but Burundi is determined to look for getting out of this problem through dialogue, and we are expecting patience and out of hope. For us, we believe that in no way conflict between states can be resolved by war. We must favor that. We must favor dialogue. That's why, even if you look at the causes of conflict in the DRC, Burundi is ready to give its contribution because it has got experience as regards national reconciliation. Allow me, as I go towards the end of my speech, to remind that ourselves of the big responsibility we have and the initiatives we must support so that we may fight the root causes of the conflict in the region. In fact, the conflict in the DRC does not have origin in borders. The DRC, the Rwanda and Burundi share harmonious history since colonization. In fact, during colonization, the region colonization, Burundi was the capital of the region, including the district of Kivu and the capital of Goma. Yet, the kingdom of Rwanda and Burundi had the capital of Kigali and Gitega. The three entities were peacefully living together in symbiosis, like in a federal state. After independence, an economic community of Refugee region was created, and the capital was Gisenyi. Yes, Gisenyi, and the objective was to promote economic region and economic integration of its members by promoting free circulation of persons, goods, and capital, as well as security. Already before independence in 1958, we had already a central hydroelectric network on River Ruzizi. Today, we are taking together a third project of construction of hydroelectric dam on this same river. That should tell you that this sub-region has got some historical link which unites its member states. It's possible, therefore, to do all possible to put in evidence the conflict of this conflict and resolve it. But this conflict does not have its origin. It has its origin in the consequence of genocide in Rwanda because the population took the path of exile and the Rwandan government took the measure of following them on Congolese territory. Since then, the DRC has never had peace because those pursuits were not only a consequence of total destruction of the Rwandan army of that time, but also led to the total destruction of the Rwandan army, causing therefore proliferation of arms in civil among the civilians. And this enabled the criminals to have arms and therefore cause trouble in the territory between Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. And in order to resolve this problem, we must, first of all, tackle it from two angles. The southern side of the DRC and the interstate side. As regards regional security, we must all agree to disarm all Despite all of these groups from outside, which are found on the Congolese soil, we should not tolerate or even give any assistance or any assistance of any type to these groups. We should start on issues of common interest related to the life of our respective peoples. In that way, there will be more, there will not be any more this climate of suspicion between our states. It will be rather revitalizing the agreement. As regards internal security in the DRC, the concrete action will first of all to guarantee security of all citizens of Congo. And this should first pass by the ceasefire and disarm all the groups and start on the inclusive dialogue in order to lead to
Il
common
faudra
future.
surtout se focaliser
We should
sur les
focus
bases de la
on the
stabilité
basis of
intérieure des États,
internal basis,
qui sont
internal
notamment
stability of the
le
states,
renforcement de la bonne
which
gouvernance,
requires
de la
us to
démocratie,
strengthen
de la lutte
good
contre la
governance,
corruption, et
democracy,
l'exploitation
fighting
illicite
corruption,
des ressources
and
naturelles,
illegal
la
exploitation
résolution
of
du
natural
problème des
resources,
réfugiés, et
resolution
du chômage
of refugee problems, unemployment, and so on and so forth.
Pour
Excellencies,
stabiliser
in
nos pays
order to
et
stabilize
nos
our
États,
countries and our
nous
states,
devons
we must
capitaliser les atouts
capitalize on
immenses
the assets,
de
the big
notre
assets,
richesse
on our
humaine, dont les femmes et
human
les jeunes
wealth, of whom
une place de
in which you
choix
have women
pour la paix,
and the
la
youth,
sécurité et le développement.
especially as
Mais
regards peace,
toujours,
security, and development.
l'adéquation
But
paix et
always,
développement, qui
peace
sont
and development,
entièrement
which go together,
liés, doivent demeurer une
must
priorité.
be a priority to us.
C'est ainsi que
That's
notre
why
proposition
our
de plan de
proposal
paix
of a
pour
peace
l'Est de
plan
la RDC
for the east of the DRC,
insiste sur
insisting
le
on
démantèlement
dismantling
des forces
the
négatives et
negative
étrangères
forces,
sur le
foreign
sol
negative
congolais
forces on the
et la création d'un
soil,
climat de
and creation
confiance entre les
of
États
a trust climate between
reste
states
le couplet
is
et le refrain
the
de notre
refrain
musique.
of our music.
Excellence,
Excellency,
Monsieur le Président de la République
Mr.
de l'Ouganda,
President
Excellence
of
Mesdames,
Uganda, Excellencies,
avant de
ladies and
clore
gentlemen,
mon allocution,
before stopping my
je
speech,
voudrais
and my
souligner
speech, I wish
que
to
je
underscore
laisse
the fact
à
that
mon successeur
I leave my
un dossier
successor
important,
a very important
celui de
case, a
poursuivre
very important
la
file, that is
revitalisation de cet accord
pursuing
pour la paix,
revitalization
la
of this
sécurité et la
agreement for
coopération
peace, security,
pour la
and
RDC.
cooperation for the DRC and the region.
L'accord cadre
The
et
framework
revitalisé
agreement, which is
sera un outil
revitalized, will be
essentiel et
an
jouera un
important
rôle
tool
crucial
and will play a
pour
crucial
asseoir
role
une paix
in order
et un
to bring
développement
about peace
durable
and
en
sustainable
RDC.
peace in the DRC and in the
Enfin,
region.
malgré les
Finally,
défis,
despite the
notre
challenges,
volonté
our
commune,
common will,
la bonne coordination
good
des
coordination
différentes
of the different
initiatives
initiatives
pour la paix et le
for peace
développement,
development,
le
the
respect
rest
des prescrits
respect
des instruments internationaux de la
as
Charte des
provided
Nations
for
Unies,
international
la Charte
instruments
africaine,
in the Charter of United Nations
l'intégration
and the
et la
Charter of
solidarité
Integration and regional
nous
solidarity
permettront
will
de
enable
relever
us
les défis
to
et transformer la région des Grands Lacs
to surmount
à
the
Afrique de
challenges
paix
and
et
transform
de
the region
développement,
of the
car
Great Lakes
ensemble tout est
in a
possible.
heaven of peace development,
C'est sûr,
because
c'est notre
together
espoir
it's possible.
que je
It's
continue
from
mes
this
propos,
hope that
tout en
in closing
formulant
my speech,
plein
by
succès à mon successeur,
wishing
Son
success,
Excellence
my
Yoweri
successor,
Museveni,
His Excellency,
à la nouvelle
Mr.
présidence du
Museveni,
mécanisme
the new
de
president
suivi de la
of
mise
the
en œuvre
mechanism,
de l'accord
of the ROM,
qu'il
and
avait
of
par
the
ailleurs
agreement,
assuré
which
à l'occasion du
he had
9e
assured
sommet
during
tenu
the
en
9th
octobre
summit held
2018
in
à
October
Kampala, en
2018
Uganda.
in Kampala, in Uganda.
Je vous assure,
I assure you,
cher grand frère
dear
président Museveni,
big brother,
de mon
President
soutien
Museveni, of my
et
support
de mon
and my encouragement
dans l'accomplissement
in
de vos
accomplishing
fonctions
your
à la
functions,
présidence
your
de ce
responsibilities
mécanisme.
as chair of
Que
this
vive la
mechanism.
paix, la
Long live
sécurité,
peace,
la
long live
solidarité
security,
et le
solidarity
développement
and
de la région
development
des Grands Lacs.
in the Great Lakes
Que Dieu
region.
vous bénisse.
God
Je
bless
vous
you.
remercie.
I thank you.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Ndayishimiye. Your Excellency, I would now like to request you, Your Excellencies, to perform a formal ceremony that marks the official transfer of chairmanship of Rome mechanism from Republic of Burundi to Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, it's now my singular honor and pleasure
Thank you.
to invite you in your capacity as incoming chair of the Rome Mechanism of Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework of the DRC and the region to deliver your remarks, Your Excellency.
His Excellency Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, the Special Envoy of the Secretary General, the Vice Presidents who are here, Vice President of Sudan, Khartoum, Vice President of South Sudan, the heads of delegations, members of the diplomatic corps, and all the people who are here. I want to thank and congratulate His Excellency Ndayishimiye for the wonderful work he has been doing for the last 2 years, as you heard. You heard his exhaustive speech talking about this problem of Congo, but in many ways, that problem of Congo has been similar to other problems in Africa since independence. We had a long discussion inside among ourselves, and I was telling Their Excellencies that I have been watching the situation in Africa as a close observer and also a participant for the last 65 years. When this problem of Congo started, we were watching. It was live on TV. They had elections in 1960, and there were two camps. One camp was of parties which were sectarian, based on ethnicity. The Bakongo, Chombe of Katanga, and so on. Lumumba had a party called MNC, which was a party of unity. You could call it a patriotic party. He won the election, but he was killed. And from that time, Congo has never been stable. There was a huge rebellion by people called Simba. These were peasants who were supporting Lumumba. They were not well organized, but you could see they were popular and very angry, but also not disorganized, believing in witchcraft and so on. The problems went on. When Mobutu came into power, the internal problems of Congo continued, off and on. Katanga, then the rebellions of 1978, somebody called Nathaniel Mbumba. Now the problems were, you could see, we who were watching, you could see that the problems were really two. Not listening to the populations of Congo. The government which was there was not listening to those people. But also depending on external support, military support. When Mobutu came in, he was being supported by the UN forces. Then the French, Giscard d'Estaing sent French army there. Then Morocco, and so on and so on. So those two parts, not listening to the local people, but depending on external support. As long as I have external support, I don't care about the internal. That was, of course, was not only in Congo, even here, that was the problem. In Uganda, that's why Uganda had become a failed state. And in Sudan, that was the problem. Khartoum was not. So it was a big problem of politics of identity, tribes, religion, not listening to the nationals and depending on external support. Now, His Excellency referred to it, the new dimension, and also not caring about the neighbors. Mobutu never cared about the internal people of Congo, nor did he care about us. He didn't care. And he was supporting groups against Angola, Savimbi, Holden Roberto. They were in Congo against Angola, against our people. At that time, we had an anti-colonial effort. But Mobutu was on the other side. So don't listen to the internal, don't listen to the neighbors, and depend on external support. Now the collapse of Mobutu came. Meanwhile, in Rwanda, Burundi, there was another problem. The problem of ethnicity, which had come up towards the independence of Burundi and Rwanda. The conflict, the artificial conflict between Hutu Tutsi, which had resulted in the massacre of the Tutsis in Rwanda in 1959. That massacre of the Tutsis generated a Tutsi diaspora That's how these people like President Kagame, they were here, came here as young children. I think Kabarebe must have been born here. That big minister. That big minister Kabarebe was born here, in exile. In Burundi, the crisis was postponed because there were patriotic leaders with a movement called UPRONA, led by Prince Louis Rwagasore. They kept the Burundi people united, so they didn't have the crisis or the same problem. But Rwagasore was killed. Rwagasore was killed. Lumumba was killed. Rwagasore was killed. You say Mure, Francais killing you. What is killing? Assassinate, but they are there to murder, to kill. Mure, to kill. We had said the word inside there, I forgot. To kill, to die. So, Rwagasore was killed by a white priest. He's a deputy. Rwagasore was a Tutsi and a prince. He was a prince. He's the deputy. Njana Ndumwe was a Hutu. Was killed also. So Uprona was beheaded, decapitated. I also have some few French words. Decapitated. So now some other people who were confused, Michombero, came in 1965, 66, Michombero. What you people you call history, I call current affairs, because all these were, I was watching. So Michombero came in now, he said now, for the Tutsis to survive in Burundi, they must kill the Hutus and they must monopolize power forever for their security. So that's how now the problem of Burundi now also became more or less like Rwanda, especially in 1972. That's what the worst. Now, the Tutsi diaspora from Rwanda, who ran away, went to Uganda, Congo, Tanzania, there were very many there, organized. We tried to negotiate with Habyarimana. Habyarimana, please let these people go back to their country. Habyarimana said, no, there is no space for them. Rwanda is too squeezed. So these fellows, impatient, they organized. His Excellency referred to it here. They attacked Rwanda. We tried to negotiate to have a peace. But now Mobutu intervenes now in Rwanda now to support Habyarimana, to support the Hutu extremists. That's how now the problem of His Excellency referred to it. That's how the problem of Congo now, which had its own internal problems, is now linked with the problem of Rwanda. Mobutu's army was defeated in Rwanda, and together with Habyarimana, as His Excellency said, the army of Habyarimana was destroyed. Then they fled into Goma. We appealed to Mobutu to disarm them. We don't listen. Because he thinks the internal forces don't matter, we the neighbors don't matter, what matters are the foreigners who are supporting them. This really, you better focus on that. Because otherwise, why was Mobutu not listening? We were here, we could have helped him. So, that's how now the problem of Rwanda gets linked to the problem of Congo. When the Tutsis organized and attacked the Hutus in Goma, and then it led to the collapse of Mobutu. So that is this whole story. But it is solvable, because here in Uganda we solved it. We had the same problems. Sectarianism of religion, sectarianism of tribes. But we exposed that misanalysis. Why is identity important? More important than interests? His Excellency referred to it in his speech. Why don't you look at trade and exchange of goods and services and building the economies for the whole area instead of tribes in the region? So we had a long discussion when we were inside there. I want to congratulate again His Excellency for the good work he has done. You had the elaborate report he gave. We are now going to, we know what the problem is. This can be solved. All of them, we sit here, we can solve them. Because this is, we are ancient people of this area. We are not new arrivals. There's nothing we don't know about all these countries, Rwanda, Burundi, Eastern Congo, Tanzania, Kenya. These are our people. So therefore, let's really solve this problem, which is easy. In my opinion, these problems are easy to solve. They are not difficult. What is difficult is three mistakes: philosophy, ideology, strategy. Once you make those mistakes on those three, then that's how a small problem becomes a big problem. So I thank everybody for coming, responding to our invitation, and I thank His Excellency Ndayishimiye for shepherding this work in the last 2 years. So let's see what we are going to do in this phase, because we know what the problem is, and it can be solved. But we must have the political will, and the foreigners should limit their involvement, because the foreigners are the ones who carelessly embolden the mistake makers. Then the mistake makers think that we don't care about these internal groups, we don't care about the region. What is important is the external support. This is the problem I have seen here. I thank you, and let's now go for the next level.